Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone joining us here today. My name is Mariya Tarabanovska, and I'm an aerospace engineer by education, an independent UIM advisor, and a co-founder of FlightCrowd. And today I'd like to provide you with our vision of the future of UIM industry and talk about what can or indeed what needs to be done to make it a success on a larger scale. As a part of today's presentation, I would like to give you a brief introduction into FlightCrowd and our mission, the current issues and future expectations of the urban air mobility, the variety of markets, as well as the ways forward as we see the industry evolve. A little bit about us. FlightCrowd is a very young but a very ambitious initiative. We exist to support the UIM community, bringing together enthusiasts and experts, aiming both to educate and grow wider public interest in the future of vertical mobility. The platform wishes to address the need to raise public awareness of the possibilities and benefits UIM technology is going to have upon mass implementation. FlightCrowd is already working closely with the industry itself to share the most up-to-date news and developments. And in the future, well, we wish to be the bridge between the industry and the public, making sure that the public has a number of ways to express their opinion, to express their concerns, to ask their questions about UIM and the industry, can hear those and respond accordingly. We wish to inspire younger members of the public to consider a career in the future of flight technologies, including UIM, and are, of course, looking to provide a number of most up-to-date industry content to our members. Overall, FlightCrowd is there for the community, for all stakeholders within the large UIM ecosystem, and we are always open for collaboration. I suggest we first look at a broader picture and establish where we are now in terms of UIM ecosystem developments. So what do we know? We know that UIM is not currently developed in every city, and factors like demand, affordability, infrastructure, public acceptance, and others presented on the slide play a key role influencing the choice of location for future eVTOL operations. We know that UIM is envisioned to bring us vertical mobility that will be faster, more convenient travel, that will eliminate the need to stay in the traffic jam, will offer affordable fares, safe flights, endurable customer-centered experience. The industry does, however, face a number of barriers, including technology. Are eVTOL designs actually mature and ready for mass-scale implementation, including infrastructure and city planning, with questions like how do we integrate the new mobility solutions into the existing urban and suburban landscape? In terms of regulations, the questions are how do we test, certify, and regulate the vehicles, especially given that there are currently over 300 registered designs in the eVTOL directory of vehicles. ATM and future of UTM, how do we ensure gradual introduction of automation, create a digital infrastructure for our skies, ensure seamless and safe operations? And of course, the public. How do we ensure the public is supportive of UIM and we as an industry address those fears regarding noise, environment, prices, security, and so on and so forth? And so, in our view, COVID-19 has and will definitely play a key role in how we perceive technology and how we develop and innovate. The recent events have undoubtedly affected every single one of us, our views, our beliefs, our preferences, and our habits. Undoubtedly, connectivity has enabled us all to stay in touch no matter how far away from each other we are all. Therefore, we can extrapolate to say how increasing connectivity and the ever-growing use of smartphone apps will aid creation of the digital infrastructure required to support flight hailing services. Additionally, with social distancing becoming so widespread, both recommended and enforced, it might well be possible that many of us may want to continue traveling further apart and prefer a smaller, more personal eVTOL flight and not a coach or a tube journey, for instance. Last but not least, during the times of lockdown, so many of us became even more keen to support sustainability and help fight the climate change. We see eVTOLs as a winning technology solution in this case, both green and efficient. It has a lot of potential to become the transportation of choice if implemented correctly and integrated in all areas of life. So let us move on to the variety of UIM markets. Previously, pretty much three main cities were leading the industry: Dallas, Paris, and Guangzhou. We do, however, expect for there to be a large variety of markets and potential changes on the UIM scoreboard. Industry leadership depends on the post-COVID recovery scenarios of the region, its societal, political, and economical landscape. Social uncertainties may include questioning to spend or to save, to move or stay, to travel more or less, There will be a change of habits and behaviors, meaning that previously available data about public perception of eVTOLs will need to be revised. Again, recovery timelines will vary based on the region. Many businesses will look at restructuring, larger airlines absorb smaller airlines, for example. Maybe some of the larger OEMs will want to merge with the smaller startups. Business uncertainty will include they need to rationalize, diversify, globalize, consolidate, invest, and disrupt. National uncertainties might be looking at market control, fiscal attitude, austerity or investments, political priorities, political behaviors, producing closer to home and not overseas as well. It is very difficult to accurately predict the long-term market evolution. All interdependencies will need to be carefully weighed and a number of possible future plans and scenarios to be constructed. While we don't think that COVID-19 will jeopardize the implementation of UIM, it might certainly delay it. Our advice is for the companies to keep investing in reinventing themselves, staying as relevant and innovative as possible. In these new times, all solutions may not necessarily prove to work as well as expected, especially in re-engineering a totally new future. And so, taking a closer look at Western Hemisphere, as with any other region in the world, there are a number of issues that are characteristic of the countries in Latin America. The cities are growing at an increasingly high rate. The rising number of vehicles on the streets lead to congestion and increased level of pollution. To illustrate the issue of the traffic congestion, Lima, Bogota, Panama City, and many others are cities just 60 miles across, when those in the United States, for instance, are probably between 60 to 100 miles. In Latin America, those small-sized cities actually pose a tremendous mobility problem, which means it sometimes takes 2 to 3 hours in peak times to get from one end to another. Of course, in the United States, that's not as big of an issue. The infrastructure is simply not coping with the urban and suburban growth in Latin America. Road infrastructure is not growing at the same pace as the cities, so traveling by road is quite slow. Well, in this case, we say, let's utilize skies. There were some attempts to implement helicopter transportation in Medellin, Colombia, but it wasn't financially viable. This form of transport is quite expensive and only used by corporate VIPs. So how would UIM differ in its proposition? We should put in place a system that can be more affordable for people as well as be more environmentally friendly and less noisy, yet solving the mobility problem in Latin American cities. Michael Diamond from Next Capital Partners mentioned during one of the Foreign Vehicles Past think tanks how Colombia's capital city, Bogota, will require about $40 million investment to build a heliport network that is both effective and efficient as well as profitable. We at FlightCrowd believe that there is a lot of potential and a number of reasons for why UAM ecosystem should be implemented in Latin America. Firstly, the human geography and how many people are really condensed into smaller areas in cities like Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo, Bogota. There's a lot we can learn. There's so many people that live in such concentrated areas in terms of how to manage the passenger flow, how to integrate UIM into the existing mobility and societal landscape, etc. The physical geography, in particular high altitudes of a number of cities, will of course present some challenges, meaning that the industry may need to limit the air vehicles around Bogota to be lighter, so they'll address the altitude density challenge. However, if the aircraft is designed and tested to cope with the altitude implications in Latin America, most probably it would be very much suitable for the rest of the world, where aircraft performance requirements are slightly less complex. Additionally, favorable weather climate is ideal for training pilots pretty much all year round. Minimal adverse weather, mostly clear skies, minimal thunderstorms, snow, icing, all of this is exactly what we would find in Latin America. Conducting initial flight tests and demonstrations and small-scale operations in such weather locations is absolutely critical, and so is definitely one of the advantages of the region. Of course, all the future flight and UAM opportunities will supply many new jobs in Latin America, creating a whole new ecosystem that's going to be very exciting and refreshing. While the labor rates in Colombia and other parts of Latin America are much lower than in the rest of the world, most importantly, it is very capable talent whose knowledge and expertise the UAM stakeholders will be able to tap into. Many fantastic architects and engineers that are unfortunately, due to some socioeconomic developments, have to be taxi or bus drivers, for instance, or do similar jobs, will finally be able to reach their full potential and truly support and positively impact their country. Having capable talent that is already there and further putting it to good use, that's how you advance the society. Overall, from our point, there is undoubtedly a need for an early market validation of the UAM promises and designs. We do need continued proof cases and incremental advances in this domain to sustain investment and efforts, and we definitely see Latin America as a market that should be seriously considered for investment and implementation by UAM stakeholders. We see Latin America as a very promising market of interest, and here at FlightCrowd we are very keen to support and will do all we can from our side to ensure more companies are looking at Latin America as a viable market to invest into. So what's ahead for the UAM industry in general? Well, we do believe that there are a number of opportunities for the UAM industry globally. We envision that all things digital, autonomous and automated, as well as electric and hydrogen fuel, will be supported and invested into. The question is, how will the industry make the most of this time of crisis when technology is viewed as a silver bullet? We can also for sure know that the governments worldwide are committed to support sustainable recovery of all industries, especially mobility and aviation. And so what remains yet to be seen is how much risk authorities will be willing to take while deciding whether to invest into an old and proven or new, brave and innovative concepts and businesses. In terms of society, the public will definitely remain dependent and reliant on the digital technology that will serve us as a backbone to VTOL operations. Additionally, overall travel demand will be largely shaped by societal behaviour that is affected by current climate. And of course, we do hope that in the nearest future, public will be more accepting of technologies, of all technologies in fact, including such rapid innovation as mass-scale UAM implementation. eVTOLs need to be understood by all members of the general public, not just those with aerospace or engineering background. It is not only about the way the vehicles work, but why they are there and how they will change our normal ways of traveling. A lot of work needs to be done raising awareness and telling people how UAM can help customers, governments, and cities. These days, we're battling against the images engraved in people's minds by moving like the Good Keel, the Eye in the Sky, London Has Fallen, the drone, where the new aviation technologies are being depicted as ones used to commit violence, acts of warfare, terrorism, and government spying on people. The messages we are sending to the future customers of urban air mobility need to represent the reality and indeed the future plans of the industry and not instill fear. We strongly believe as well as see that the evidence of eVTOL manufacturers looking to adopt the technology to transport lives, improve mobility, connectivity, reduce road congestion and battle air pollution. We know that a lot of the time fear comes from the lack of knowledge. And as an industry, we need to make public aware of how UAM technology can be used to reach somewhere faster, get someone to the hospital in an emergency on a congested city, deliver humanitarian aid in a remote area, deploy it in an aerial air fighting, firefighting, and not only have the vehicles available to business travelers. The industry needs to demonstrate how it can provide benefits to the wider community, with the general public seeing UAM available to all, regardless of background, disability, or social status. Making UAM an accessible mode of transport for those with physical disabilities should be accounted in the process of designing the vehicles, as well as physical and digital infrastructure. Users should truly be at the heart of the industry plans for the future of vertical mobility. If integrated well, there will be a number of other positive knock-on effects seen in regions of UAM mass adoption. The vehicles will increase accessibility, create jobs, boost local and regional economies. This is what the public needs to hear and see. These are the narratives that we should be sharing. All in all, we will help to ready the public, but as for the industry, please make sure the end product that is introduced to the market is the one not only of exceptional and innovative performance, but the one available and accessible to be used by each and every one of us, is inclusive, affordable, and safe to the general public in every corner of the world. I would like to very much thank you for your time today and hope you found this information useful. We definitely value your feedback and we'll be delighted to have you join FlightCrowd in our journey of making UAM more accessible, understood, and appreciated by the general public. I thank you all and cannot wait to work with you on making this future a reality. Thank you.